Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I'm Darshan Usman. The top stories this hour. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara invites Speaker Amaule, other lawmakers for crucial meeting. Nigeria and United Arab Emirates set to resume talks over visa restrictions. Authorities in DR Congo offer $5 million reward for rebel leaders' arrest. Details in a moment. News Central now at this hour begins in Rivers State, where the state governor Siminalayi Fubara has invited Speaker Martins Amaule and other members of the Rivers State House of Assembly to a crucial meeting at Government House, Port Harcourt. This marks the first official address from Fubara to Amaule as the Assembly Speaker. The invitation, dated March 7, follows the governor's acknowledgement of the Supreme Court's judgment in his March 5th letter. The meeting will cover key issues, including providing a suitable space for the Assembly's sit-ins, addressing outstanding remunerations, presenting the budget, and other critical matters. The lawmakers are scheduled to meet the governor on Monday, March 10 at 10 a.m. local time. To discuss this, we're joined by Comrade Solomon Lenu, his former spokesperson, Coalition of Rivers State Civil Society. Thank you so much for joining us at this time, Solomon.
Yeah, thank you for having me, News Central. Thank you, Nigerians. Good evening.
All right, so let's hear your thoughts on the significance of this meeting, especially in resolving the ongoing tensions between the governor and the State Assembly.
Well, I think this is going to be a very significant, moment for Rivers people. Pardon me. And we hope that by the special grace of God tomorrow, the assembly members will have the soundness of mind to grace that August meeting for the progress and peace of Rivers State. Unfortunately, we have been hearing some rhetoric, all through this evening. In fact, there's actually a video circulating on social media where one of the assembly members actually said that they were not going to attend that meeting. But of course, I think we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and the Rivers people are watching keenly, because their actions or inaction tomorrow will actually define if they actually want peace in this state or not. So as it stands at this moment right now, that meeting tomorrow is the most important thing, for Rivers people and Rivers citizens. So that's what it is, and then we are hoping and praying earnestly, because of course this issue has been protracted for a very long time, and of course we have also maintained that where you have crises such as this between the legislature and the executive, of course it is the people of Rivers State that suffers.
Absolutely.
And therefore, well meaning Rivers people have been praying that there should be an end to the crisis, and we hope that the meeting tomorrow will usher in that all expected
well, Solomon, you did talk about
that will move the state forward.
Solomon, you talked about a rhetoric
yes,
that was going round, a viral video of one of the assembly members saying that he would not attend the meeting. What other likely challenges do you think would arise in the negotiation process, particularly regarding the Assembly's demands for budget presentation?
Well, of course, we all know that there have been, some discrepancies and disagreements, that has lasted for over a year now between these lawmakers and then the governor of Rivers State. But it is also instructive to state that the governor himself didn't have any personal problem with any of these lawmakers. In fact, this current crisis that is going on can best be called a war of attrition, between the governor and the former governor, the current FCT minister, of the federation. Unfortunately, some of these lawmakers fail to understand that their responsibility there is to the people who elected them and not to any other individual. So if they come to the realization of this fact, I'm sure that the meeting tomorrow will be very peaceful. Of course, the governor had also mentioned some very, salient issues, very important issues that should interest them. When he said that he was going to look, they need to look into the backlog of their remuneration. I think that is also very important. Although we know that the assembly members had given an ultimatum, a 48 hours ultimatum to the governor to come and represent the budget, something that has not gone down well with the people of Rivers State because a lot of persons felt that that was disrespectful, for them to have given an ultimatum to the governor. Of course, they also did not consider, the rudiments of presenting a proper budget. Of course, as of today, the dynamics have changed. A whole lot of, things are currently in the mix now. So there is no way the governor will be able to present the budget as it were, to them right now, because of course, so many other things have changed. As for today, as we speak, one of the things that must be considered is the fact that, a new local government election has been ordered by the Supreme Court to be conducted. Of course, they will have to do the workings and also look at the implication of that, and that takes time. Of course, we have the full assembly right now. That wasn't the case when the previous budget was drawn up. Right now, they have to also factor them into the current budget, their constituency projects and all of those. Even they themselves also had to meet with the budget office to also put in, some of their own interests as regards to, their constituencies, into the budget. So all those things are not something that could be done in 48 hours. But unfortunately, they went ahead to take that ultimatum, which did not go down well for, well-meaning Rivers people who had been longing for, a lasting solution for the ongoing political crisis in the state. So by and large, tomorrow is going to be a very, very important day because it's going to define those who actually want peace for Rivers State and those who are actually out, for a vindictive vendetta which does not, benefit the Rivers people in any way.
Oh, well.
So that's where we are at the moment.
Well, I believe so, and we do hope that tomorrow's meeting comes out, flawlessly. Thank you so much, Solomon, for joining us and speaking to us on this. Now, away from that, we now head to the Parliament, where the chairman of the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, Senator Neda Imasuen, has defended the committee's decision to recommend the suspension of Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. In an International Women's Day message made available to News Central, Imasuen clarified that the committee's recommendation was strictly based on Akpoti-Uduaghan's conduct during plenary on February 20th and had no connection to her sexual harassment allegations against Senate President Godswill Akpabio. The senator explained that while harassment allegations are serious matters that deserve investigation, the Ethics Committee had no jurisdiction over the claims since they are already before the courts. He stressed that the suspension was in line with Senate rules, adding that the decision was not about silencing anyone, but about ensuring accountability and preserving the Senate's integrity. In the meantime, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has cautioned critics against making uninformed comments on the affairs of the upper legislative chamber. Akpabio issued the warning when he received a delegation from the Niger Delta Ethnic Nationalities Youth Leaders Forum in Abuja. His remark followed the recent suspension of Kogi Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan for violating Senate rules, a decision that Akpabio emphasized was unanimously supported by lawmakers. Expressing concern over a perceived trend of uninformed commentaries on television and social media, Akpabio urged the public to understand parliamentary rules before engaging in debates. He dismissed the saga as an attempt to undermine his leadership, attributing recent criticism to political mischief from people who he claimed lacked knowledge of Senate procedures. Similarly, the political feud between Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan of Kogi Central has intensified following her 6-month suspension from the Senate. Akpabio accused Akpoti-Uduaghan of traumatizing others with baseless allegations, while the Kogi lawmaker fired back, insisting she was not the first to accuse him of sexual harassment and calling for an independent investigation. Tensions between the two lawmakers erupted publicly 2 weeks ago during plenary when Akpoti-Uduaghan rejected a directive to relocate her seat, telling Akpabio she would not be intimidated. The dispute escalated when she appeared on a live television program the following day, repeating her allegations against the Senate president. Last week, the Senate, acting on a recommendation from its Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, suspended Akpoti-Uduaghan for 6 months. The decision has triggered widespread outrage, with rights groups and activists demanding a fair hearing for the embattled senator. Earlier, a lawyer and a public affairs analyst, Vincent Otapopo, shared his thoughts on this development.
The purported suspension of Senator Natasha has provoked an exciting scholastic disputations, ranging from contentious issues and responses. Anywhere you go in the court of public opinion, newspaper stand, that is on the lips of every Nigerian. There is no authority on the part of the Senate to suspend a legislator validly elected by the people of Nigeria, whom the person seeks to represent. The Supreme Court and Nigerian Judiciary, the 1999 Constitution frowns at it, and the suspension, to all intents and purposes, is not only repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience, but incompatible with the provisions of the Constitution and the established principles of law, ranging from decided cases by the Supreme Court and Court of Appeal, which forms part of sources of law in Nigeria. Section 4, subsection 8 of the 1999 Constitution provides, save as provided in this Constitution, the exercise of legislative powers of National Assembly or State Assembly shall be subject to the jurisdiction of the court, as the case may be. So the court has the power to conduct inquiry, and whatever they do in the National Assembly is subject to legislative powers of the court. Now, the Supreme Court of Nigeria and the Court of Appeal, in litany and cornucopia of cases, have handled situation of this and pronounced the absence of authority, legislative competence, and legislative powers of the National Assembly, be it Senate of Assembly or a representative, to suspend a legislative member.
And now to politics. Former PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has dismissed reports of his defection from the party. There have been claims that he is finalizing plans to join the Social Democratic Party, SDP. But in a statement on Saturday, Atiku's media office described the reports as false, insisting he remains a committed PDP member. The statement clarified that Atiku is focused on building a broad coalition to challenge the APC, not abandoning the PDP. It urged the public to disregard what it called an attempt to mislead Nigerians about the ongoing opposition alliance. The statement adds that Atiku remains a key figure in efforts to unite opposition parties ahead of the next election. Earlier, a political analyst, Akin Fakwaunda, shared his thoughts on this development.
First of all, the practice of politicians using media aid to talk to Nigerians is so insulting. They don't. Why can't he speak with his own mouth so that we know he means what he's saying? So media just hiding under one small media press release to the whole country of Nigeria is so insulting. Atiku is just out to be president and he wants to use all means to be president. So he's shopping around. He's not alone. All of them are shopping around for what to get them something that they want. Atiku was just trying to scheme for people who will ride over their back to become president. He's not going to be acting as a Democrat so that if you have a coalition, some of the coalition says it's not the better candidate, will he accept? He will not.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll tell you that Nigeria and UAE set to resume talks over visa restrictions. Details of this and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has again assured the federal government's commitment to resolving the cracks on Nigeria-UAE diplomatic relations. Speaking in a statement by its Special Assistant on Communication and New Media, Magnus Eze, the ministry said Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates will meet in the coming days to resolve challenges faced by Nigerians in obtaining UAE visas. The statement said the decision was reached during a meeting between the UAE ambassador to Nigeria, Salem Saeed Al-Shamsi, and the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, at the Tafawa Balewa House, Abuja. Odumegu Ojukwu acknowledged the strong diplomatic and economic ties between both countries, emphasizing that trade imbalance between the countries will also be addressed. Women have been tasked to rise up to the challenge, build a better future for themselves, and inspire the next generation. This was on the occasion of the 2025 International Women's Day celebration put together by Echo Hotels and Suites. Our correspondent Israel Efebo has the rest of the story.
I am resilient.
I am vibrant.
I am a superstar. I am resilient.
I'm brilliant.
I am detailed.
These are some of the words that these amazing women use in describing themselves on the occasion of the 2025 International Women's Day. On the 8th of March every year, women across the world come together to celebrate the accomplishments of fellow women, deliberate on issues, and press for action. This year's theme, Accelerate Action, resonated with the speakers at the Women Accelerating Women event put together by Echo Hotels and Suites.
International Women's
One
Day
of the
means
things, I
more
have a
than
foundation
a day to celebrate
that looks
women.
out
It is a day
for
when
all the
we
privileged
as
widows
women
and their
need to
children.
wake up
My
to the
husband is
reality
alive,
of what we need
so
to
I'm not a
do
widow,
for each other
because
and
that's
for
the
the
first
world
question that
to
press will always
accelerate
ask me.
action, the kind of
So it's
action
not as a
that does not
as a
start and
result
end
of,
with us.
again,
To be
for
honest
the
with you, this is
foundation
what Eco Hotel
to
brings.
Victoria
Again, I was just
Island,
saying that Eco
I
Hotel
was
is more than
driving
just a
past
hotel.
Eco
And this is
Hotel, and I said to
really speaking
myself,
to that,
why
that
can't
more
I
than selling
use Eco
rooms and
Hotel
restaurants,
compound,
it is really
you know,
about
to
how
do
we
the
impact
take
all of the
off and
women,
people
all the
come back
beautiful
for the
women
work.
who are here
And
today
that tiny little voice
are
at Eco
customers
Hotel,
of Eco
how
Hotels.
can,
They are,
as
you know,
little as
partners
your
of Eco
foundation
Hotel.
is.
They're guests
And
of
another voice
our
said to me,
customers.
stand up,
And
go to
you know,
Eco Hotel,
what
go look
other
for the
way is there
GM?
to celebrate International
And I
Women's
came.
Day than with
I
the
went to
people
the PA, the
who,
secretary of the
for
GM, said, I would
whom
like to see
you
the
make a
GM.
living,
She said, are you
and
an
from whom
appointment? I said,
you
no.
spend all
Said,
of the
"Did you
time
send the
that you
letter?" I
spend
said,
working
no.
hard to curate
Because
for.
about
This day has been a very
women not
important
being
day for women
balanced,
because
both
for
at
many
work and
women,
at home.
it's the only sort of chance they get to
mental
truly
health
celebrate
issues,
themselves. They get to stop and have a look and
raised,
see how far
stress
we've
levels,
come and what more
and some
needs to be
ill
done.
The event featured speakers from all walks of life who came together to encourage and inspire women to be the best that they can be.
In order to get a balance, you need to have priorities, you need to have structure, you need to have time management in place, you need to have boundaries.
I think a lot more needs to be done for women across the world and in Nigeria.
Women
can do
honestly
all things
are powerful
through Christ who
and I
strengthens
hope
me.
that we understand
Hello,
that
you're
power
not writing, Madam
and we
Vivian.
can support them to become.
There was also moments of inspiration and hope for a brighter tomorrow.
Never dim your light. Never reduce. What's better than one light? 2, 3, 4 lights coming together. If you see another woman's light needing protecting, please protect it.
I hope that the message that would go out of this event today is that, you know, women are ready to take action, and it is
I just gave her my elevator speech.
unacceptable that we, women who have worked very hard to get to where we are today, are not the real role models that are putting themselves out there for younger women to emulate. And this is the call to action for me, that we need to come out more and support more women to achieve their heart's desires.
The 2025 International Women's Day event, put together by Eco Hotels and Suites to celebrate women, did just that, with an encouragement to all women to always let their light shine.
Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
In Lagos, for News Central, Israel Ife-Robo.
Now, women in media are calling for greater recognition and inclusion in decision-making process. This comes as the International Women's Day 2025 is marked over the weekend. Under the theme Accelerate Action, the conference this year urges authorities to not only include women in policy-making efforts, but to speed up efforts towards gender equality. Our correspondent, Bernard Akede, has the details.
International Women's Day serves as both a celebration of women's achievements and a reminder of the ongoing challenges they face. Across the globe, the month of March sees women's rights groups amplifying their calls for inclusion, equity, and justice. In Nigeria, women in media have added their voices to this movement, emphasizing the urgent need for change.
That woman that, you know, has been through a lot and nobody has celebrated her, and, you know, letting the world know that, yes, you know, she has arrived. So basically, the International Women's Day, it's always a day for women in media to also join voices with the women all over the world to celebrate them. And of course, the topic for this year's celebration is Accelerate Action, you know, 50-50.
From workplace discrimination to unequal opportunities in various professions, women continue to push against barriers that limit their growth. These concerns were front and center at the event.
For civil defense, if you watch quite well, you will find out that we will be one of the foremost, if not the foremost, in everything. Even our women are openly combatant, and you see us with our arms, unafraid and unashamed of that.
Beyond professional settings, the plight of vulnerable women, especially widows, was also highlighted. Many widows in African communities are left without support, facing social and economic hardship with little intervention. Speakers at the conference called on relative agencies to step in.
Churches that have been told to take care of widows as their first assignment, which is a pure religion, James 1:27, the church also has failed widows. Government has no record of widows in Lagos or Nigeria. You mentioned that they should put them in positions or somewhere. No, widows don't need to be put in the ministries. What they need to do at every local government in Nigeria is know the number of widows that are in every local government. I have clamored for a widows commission in the past 15 years. Nothing has been done. I've written about it. Nothing has been done. I hope one day, let's just make sure that widows are well treated, are cared for.
Advocates insist that discussions like these must translate into concrete actions, ensuring that women's voices are not just heard, but that real change follows.
Time where women will be given more power, more opportunity to be in leadership positions. We're talking about giving women the power to do more. You know, gone are the days when, you know, they used to say that a woman's place is relegated to the kitchen, to some other places. But over time, we have shown that we have gone beyond all of that. And we are saying we can do better. How many women are in the Senate? How many women? You know, so that's what we are saying. And I remember starting something, accelerate action 50-50. It has to be 50-50. It can be 50-50. And like I said, leadership is not by gender. Being a leader has nothing to do whether you are a man or a woman. It's about what you have upstairs.
The hope is that this year's conversations will not be just another round of discussions, but a catalyst of meaningful progress in women's rights and representation. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akidi.
The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs has dismissed claims that survivors of sexual and gender-based violence were abandoned. In a statement released on Sunday by the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Dr. Mariam Kishinro, the ministry says it provides emergency shelter, medical care, financial aid, and long-term reintegration support. A nationwide assessment in 2024 helped strengthen survivor services as the ministry explains that it is finalizing a national action plan expanding shelter, a federal shelter capacity, and working with agencies to standardize care. Authorities urge the public to ignore misleading reports, reaffirming their commitment to protecting and empowering survivors by offering temporary shelter and financial aid. The ministry further says it is embarking on legislative reviews on laws on violence and abuse, such as the VAP Act and other legal and policy instruments. To discuss this, we are joined by Maxwell Okpara, an Abuja-based legal practitioner and human rights activist. Thank you so much for joining us on the news, Maxwell.
It's my pleasure to be with you.
Maxwell, what do you make of the Ministry of Women Affairs response? Does it adequately address the concerns raised in the viral video where you led the protest?
Yes, of course. A couple of days ago, I led some people to carry out protests at the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs with respect to some issues that have to do with defilement of children, rape, and what have you. So that when we carry out the protests, I decided to carry out that protest because of my previous experience in the ministry, where I've been writing series of letters and nobody responded. So incidentally, I discovered that since the inception of the current administration of this Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, headed by Hajia Imam Ibrahim, so I have not written any letter. So going by when she resumed office and the time I wrote my last letter. So we came there, carried out the protests. So we are welcomed. Our letter of protest we have received. So when we now get into the building proper, the ministry was able to establish what they had been doing to improve what we are complaining about, the legal framework, Child Rights Act, VAP, how we have constituted a committee. In fact, our even comment, he had to incorporate us in the committees that will look at the legal framework so as to address all these issues. We also need to understand that since she resumed upon her resumption, she rushed to the shelter where all these children are being kept, and also took up some renovations and initiatives with respect to the shelter. And we know that we are not where we're supposed to be. But from what I saw, what I met on ground with evidence, the current Minister of Women Affairs is making an effort. You can see that the protest which we carried out was something that happened before her resumption. But on our meeting with her, together with the staff, with evidence, because I'm a lawyer, I go by evidence, we were able to see exactly what she has been doing.
Okay, Maxwell.
And we want to commend her, and we also encourage her to do more.
Maxwell, can you hear me?
Especially on the area of.
You can hear me, Maxwell.
Hello.
The ministry claims that it does not operate a formal shelter, but provides a makeshift safe space. How does this align with best practices, for supporting victims of sexual violence?
Pardon?
I said the ministry actually claims that.
Can I hear you?
Can you hear me, Maxwell?
I can hear you loud and clear now.
I said the ministry claims that it does not support, it does not operate a formal shelter, but provides a makeshift safe space, especially for those, who have suffered or the victims of sexual violence. So how does, providing a makeshift safe space, how does it align with best practices for supporting victims of sexual violence?
Yes, that is the essence of amending the legal framework. I'm talking about the Child Rights Act and the VAP Act, so that all these issues will be in line with the best practices. Of course, if we have it in our law, and we have how it will be run in our law, it will go a long way for sorting these issues out. But from what we have now, she is doing it based on the resources available to her. And also, she also let us to know that the president, for the first time, increased their budget. I believe going forward, there will be an improvement. And also, the only area where she's even having a challenges is because we continue to hammer off those perpetrators, those persons that will defile a 3-year-old child, a rape 12-year-old child, and infected and with HIV. So the prosecution of those perpetrators is not within their own reach. It's with NAPTIP and the Federal Minister of Justice. And they should also let us know how collaborative efforts they are putting in place, so that once these people are being arrested, the Federal Minister of Women Affairs should follow the case up and to ensure that it's being prosecuted to the logical conclusion.
Well, we hope that that definitely happens. So thank you for your time, Maxwell. Moving away from that, Muslim lawyers in Nigeria have dismissed the recent controversy surrounding the establishment of Sharia panels in Nigeria's southwestern states and other parts of the country. Speaking in the nation's capital, Abuja, they say that the establishment of Sharia panels in any other region of the country, notably the southwest region, is a legitimate exercise of citizens' constitutional rights as provided in sections 37 and 38 of the Nigerian Constitution. They say the panels have been an effective means of handling family disputes among Muslims for over 2 decades.
Under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, Section 37, 38, 39, and Section 40 talks about Islamic human rights of each citizens of Nigeria. So for a Muslim, as a Sharia personal law, divorce, marriage, custody, and whatever is his personal right. So he doesn't need any consent from anybody to introduce that right, because as a Nigerian, he has that right to have a personal life as a Muslim wherever he finds himself in the country.
The call to action again is for us, the government of those states, to see to the fact that they are not helping their state if they do not provide institutions that need to take care of problems of Muslim family. So they have a duty, and it's a fundamental human right under Section 37, right to family life. So if a government of any state has not made provision for where Muslims will go to solve their family problem, then they are offending the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic.
I think what we need to do is to enlighten people more about the positive things that are surrounding it, so that they will embrace it without being forced to embrace it.
Coming up, Authorities in DR Congo offer $5 million bounties for rebel leaders' arrest. We'll tell you more after the break. Stay with us. The news continues in Central Africa, where the United Nations Humanitarian Agency reports a rise in attacks on hospitals and civilian infrastructure in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo amid the ongoing assault by the armed group M23. Backed by Rwandan troops, M23 has made significant advances since January, capturing key cities like Goma and Bukavu, displacing hundreds of thousands. Between March 1 and 3rd, several hospitals were targeted, escalating violence against medical centers and personnel. Security in Goma has deteriorated with a surge in criminal activity, while schools and hospitals have been forced to close in other areas. The conflict has also led to civilian casualties, with over 100,000 people displaced in Lubero. The DRC government accuses Rwanda of supporting M23, a claim Rwanda denies, citing its own security concerns. Still in the country, the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo has offered $5 million in rewards for information leading to the arrest of 3 leaders of the M23 rebel group, which has captured large parts of eastern DRC this year. The bounties target Corneille Nanga, Sultani Makenga, and Bertrand Bisimwa, all of whom have been prosecuted in absentia and sentenced to death for treason. The DRC military has struggled against the Rwanda-backed rebels who have seized key cities like Goma and Bukavu. The government is also seeking international pressure on Rwanda, accusing it of looting DRC's valuable minerals, including gold and coltan. Rwanda denies the allegations, but acknowledges supporting M23 to prevent the conflict from spilling over its border. In other news from around the world, Israel's finance minister Bezalel Smotrich says U.S. President Donald Trump's controversial plan to displace Gazans is taking shape. Other remarks have raised significant concerns about the future of Gaza's population, as the plan reportedly involves large-scale relocations. While details remain unclear, critics argue that it could lead to severe humanitarian consequences for Palestinians. The statement comes amidst ongoing tensions in the region, with many questioning the long-term implications of peace. As the plan develops, international attention is intensifying, with human rights groups calling for transparency and adherence to international law. Former central banker Mark Carney is poised to replace Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as leader of Canada's Liberal Party. Carney, who served as governor of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, is the favored candidate following a vote among 400,000 party members. His main rival is Chrystia Freeland, Trudeau's former deputy prime minister. Whoever wins will face a general election, with the Conservative Party currently holding a slight edge. Carney has garnered broad support, including from Trudeau's cabinet, while Freeland's ties to the current government could pose a challenge. Both candidates have emphasized their readiness to defend Canada against U.S. President Donald Trump's threats. In business, the trade relationship between Nigeria and the United Kingdom is currently valued at £7.8 billion, according to the UK Deputy High Commissioner, Mrs. Gill Lever. Lever made the disclosure during the unveiling of a British franchise in Abuja. The envoy described Nigeria as a high-growth market and reaffirmed the UK's commitment to strengthening economic ties, stating that Britain remains Nigeria's partner in progress. The envoy therefore stressed that the arrival of the new franchise in Nigeria is a testament to the strength of UK-Nigeria trade relations and the immense potential of the Nigerian market. Now let's bring you the rest of the day's business news.
The federal government of Nigeria has formally admitted the UNESCO International Geoscience and Geoparks Program Nigerian National Committee into the National Council on Hydrocarbons, marking a significant step toward mainstream United Nations policy and advocacy frameworks on sustainable earth resource management in the country's petroleum industry. The permanent secretary of the Ministry of Petroleum Resources had communicated the approval to the committee chairman. These developments aligns with UNESCO's commitment to balancing resource extraction with geoheritage conservation to facilitate the development of UNESCO Global Geoparks in Nigeria. Speaking on the development, the chairman of the UNESCO IGGP NNC, Dr. Aminu Abdullahi Isiaku, expressed appreciation to the federal government of Nigeria for its commitment to integrating international best practices into the country's hydrocarbon management. He emphasized that since the inauguration of the UNESCO committee to drive the implementation of the IGGP statutes in Nigeria, the government has demonstrated strong resolve in aligning the Petroleum Industry Act with international frameworks that seek to balance resource extraction with community-driven geoheritage conservation. Meanwhile, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has announced the aviation regulators will inspect the site of the proposed Lekki International Airport this week, marking a crucial step towards the commencement of its construction. Sanwo-Olu made the disclosure during his visit to Alaro City on Saturday, where he reaffirmed his administration's commitment to delivering the airport and other major infrastructure projects across the state, as stated by a special advisor on media and publicity, Boyega Akoshile, in a statement. According to the governor, the inspection scheduled for the second week of March will facilitate the approval process required for construction to begin. Designed to complement the Lekki Free Trade Zone and Lekki Deep Seaport, the airport is expected to improve connectivity and attract foreign investment, further positioning Lagos and, by a large extension, Nigeria as a global business hub in Africa. Iron ore prices are likely to decline through the next year due to supply growth and a softening Chinese demand outlook, African Rainbow Minerals Chairman Patrice Motsepe and CEO Philip Tobias have said. In addition, the weakness in platinum group metals prices is also persistent despite seemingly supportive fundamentals. The executive said at the release of ARM's reports for the 6 months to December 31, 2024. Coal and platinum are two of the key mining commodity exports from South Africa. Unpacking the factors impacting the PGM prices, they said near-term increases in refined PGM exports from South Africa had exceeded market expectations, while Chinese imports remain subdued. In Western markets, automotive demand for PGM remained weak, with European sales under pressure and the US market experiencing high inventory levels, leading to short-term production cuts. And that's all on business news. I am Likon Onobanjo.
Let's now bring you the latest sports news.
Nigeria Premier Football League chairman Gbenga Elegbeleye has reaffirmed his commitment to enhancing the quality and visibility of the Nigeria Premier Football League after 4 players earned spots in coach Eric Shell's 39-man professional squad for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers against Rwanda and Zimbabwe. Elegbeleye believes the inclusion of these players further proves the league's growing stature.
Give it to us, Chinugwabo, the technical director of the Nigerian Football Federation. He has been attending the rest of our matches with the purpose of monitoring some certain category of players that he feels may have the chance of playing for Nigeria. So he is the technical director of Nigerian Football Federation, and the team we're talking about is a baby of Nigerian Football Federation too. National team belongs to the Nigerian Football Federation. I think the technical advisor of the national director of the Football Federation is coming to attend our matches. We cannot get a better person to monitor our team, and it's always coming with a team, not just a one-man show. So I would say kudos to a very good friend also in the government for doing a good job. All this invitation that we are seeing is be monitored, and I'm sure there is sort of it's traveling up and down to many matches. Is what is giving the guys a chance.
Senegal defeated hosts Nigeria 4-1 in a pulsating team final to win the 13th ECOWAS African Wrestling Tournament in Abuja. Senegal reaffirmed its wrestling dominance by claiming gold, and Nigeria, despite falling short, improved from third place in 2023 to finish as runners-up in their debut as tournament hosts. The competition featured 11 nations and marked ECOWAS's 50th anniversary. Benin secured third place with a 5-0 win over Guinea, while former champions Niger and Burkina Faso were absent. In individual events, Nigeria's Ebipate Limbofa and AB Bigos won gold, but Senegal dominated heavyweight categories. The champions earned $10,000, with Nigeria and Benin Republic receiving $6,000 and $3,000 respectively. Cole Palmer's perfect penalty record of 12 Premier League sports kicks taken, 12 scored, backed up his image as a man who delivers under pressure, but that run finally came to an end at Stamford Bridge on Sunday. Chelsea were awarded a penalty in the first half when Leicester City defender Rasmus Christensen tackled Jadon Sancho in the box, and referee Tim Robinson pointed to the spot. Palmer's strike was well hit, but Mads Hermansen got down brilliantly to push the ball safely around the post and keep the game goalless. Cucurella struck in the second half to ensure Chelsea won the game by a 1-0, lifting them above Manchester City into fourth place on the table. The Blues are 2 points ahead of Manchester City in the race for the top 4 finish that guarantees a Champions League berth. In the La Liga, Atletico Madrid stumbled to a 2-1 defeat by Getafe on Sunday in a significant blow to their title ambitions. Diego Simeone's side would have gone top of the table with a victory after leaders Barcelona's match was postponed on Saturday. Atletico Madrid were on course for 3 points when Alexander Soloth struck from the penalty spot after 75 minutes. However, Atletico forward Angel Correa was sent off, and Getafe midfielder Mauro Arambari scored 2 late goals to snap victory for the hosts. Simeone picked a strong side despite Champions League last 16 second leg clash against Real Madrid on Wednesday on the horizon. And that's a wrap on Sports Update. I am Udoka Njoko.
And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. We told you that Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has invited Speaker Maule and other lawmakers for a crucial meeting. We also told you that Nigeria and United Arab Emirates set to resume talks over visa restrictions. Finally, we told you that authorities in DR Congo have offered $5 million reward for rebel leaders' arrests. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.